This is a 1967 Chevy Impala SS-427. They only produce 2,124 of them. I've had the car for about 10 years, and I restored it about a year and a half ago. I like the old Chevrolets, especially the big block cars, and these are real rare and they're hard to find. It was pretty much ordered with no options, just power brakes, and the vinyl top was the only option on it besides the 385 horse 427 that they put into SS-427 cars. First thoughts was to put a tri-power on them, but because of the Vietnam War, it slowed down sales, so they didn't put the tri-power in, and that's why there's 3 simulated scoops on there, is because they originally thought of putting tri-power on it. The claim was you can drive this car in luxury with your family and take it to the strip and drag it. They're so rare, I'd be afraid to race it and worry about blowing an original motor in it. I put a little wider tires and did a little lowering on the car to add to the performance of it. The paint is the original color, which is Bolero red. Pretty much call the car stock with a slight resto mod with the brakes and the suspension. Like I say, it's all bolt-on, so if anybody ever bought the car and wanted to put it back to original completely, it would be no problem. I put this car in one show, and it was in the top 10 out of, I'd say, probably 300 cars. On the SS-427, they had a special trim package, what they called, and one of them was the emblems on the fender. The flag was different than any other V flag from any other cars. The others would have a bar in it, and it would say turbojet fire under it. This car has the marker light deletes. Some of the cars, if you ordered them with the lights, they would have a lens in here with a light that would light up when you turn. All the aluminum is NOS. The stainless steel is the best of all of it because you can knock the dents out and file it, sand on it, polish it, and make it look brand new again. Chrome, you have problems with chrome for rust getting under it and getting pits and rusting. The aluminum, it's anodized. There's not much you can do with it unless you strip it and have it straightened and then re-anodized. The bumpers are original, but they've been re-chromed. The grille emblem is only on the SS-427. They blacked all the bars out to where, from a distance, all you seen was a chrome bar. The hood, they only put this domed hood, what they call a domed hood, on the SS-427 cars. That's part of what they call the Z24 package, and it has the 3 simulated scoops. The reasoning was possibly a tri-power on some of these cars, but they never did put tri-power on any of the SS-427s. These cars come out with rally wheels. The only way you can get a 15-inch rally wheel on these cars was if you ordered disc brakes for the front. To which on this one here, this car originally had drum brakes, which had 14-inch wheels, so when I put 4-wheel disc brakes on the car, I put a wider rally rim on it. I have an 8-inch rim on this car, to where the originals only had a 7. I put a wider tire on the front, a 60, to get more tread on the ground for performance. The rings are original. The cap, I put a spinner cap on it. That wasn't original. I just put that on there because I like the looks of it. On the rear tires on this car, I went with a larger tire. As you can see, this tire is a lot taller and wider than the front. The reasoning I went with the 275 on the back, which I have a 235 on the front, is I wanted to get the wheel wells filled up to where the car looked full. And it has really helped the performance of the car on acceleration off dead stops. This car will smoke the tires up into 3rd gear. It has an incredible amount of horsepower, and with the bigger rear tires, it hooks up and it don't wheel hop and it don't spin a whole lot. Okay, on the back end of these cars, On the SS-427 cars, this trunk molding only came on the SS Z24 cars. They're very hard to find. All they had on the deck lid was the SS-427 and then the Chevrolet on the deck lid. They didn't put a Impala emblem on the SS-427 cars. That's one way of telling if you have, if you have the original car, that it would not have a Impala emblem on the quarter panel.
This Chevy is one of the nicest you'll see. I'm really impressed with Butch's craftsmanship and attention to detail. It's truly a work of art. As Butch wrapped up showing me the exterior of the SS-427, the sky looked like it might rain. So rather than risk rain spotting this immaculate vehicle, we decided to pull the car into his shop to continue.
This car did not come out with air conditioning. This is your heater and air control. It just has the original AM radio, has a clock, a speedometer, and fuel gauge. Where the gas gauge is where there should have been a tack. As far as I can figure out, the car was not ordered with the tack. It has the rally wheel. It's a 4-speed. And Impala, that was the only Impala emblem on the whole car was on the dash. I had to redo all the dash, which I sandblasted and repainted the dash, repolished all the aluminum pieces on the dash, rebuilt the whole column. The console, I replaced all of the top aluminum on it and repaired the back of it, which was broke out. Ashtray all new. The carpet is all original. It's what they call a 80-20 loop, and that's what they put in the cars back in the day. The seats have all been restored back to original condition, the original seat covers. Everything I've done inside the car is exactly original. Nothing has been modified. The seat covers, now they're a little bit expensive, and door panels, it all adds up. I believe I had close to $5,000 in the interior alone. And the headliner is completely original, right down to the lines in the material. You want to put them back exactly like they were from the factory, or you could lose value of the car. All the aluminum is repolished. Sun visors. You can see the door panel is completely new, right down to carpet on the bottom. All the window cranks are new. The handle, all been redone, re-chromed. New armrest pads with chrome bases. That one wing window, there's a little chip. All the glass in the car is original. It wasn't separated or anything, so I chose to leave it all like it was, original stuff. The wing windows have been completely dismantled and replated, and all new seals put in. The door jambs and everything has been completely redone. Little dings, whatnot, from years of abuse taken out. With whole new weather strip and seals, and striker and latch, all replated.
Having seen the quality of Butch's work so far, I had a feeling there might be more to this project we should see. Since we were parked in the lift stall anyway, I asked him to take the Impala up so we could look underneath. Good thing we did, because you will enjoy this angle too.
This car was on a rotisserie on the restoration, which the body was off the frame. The frame has all been completely sandblasted and repainted. As you can see, it's got all brand new stainless steel brake lines, brake cables. The bottom of the car is painted the same color as the top. I painted the bottom of this car red because I wanted it to be flashy. The original would have probably just been black. Brand new exhaust. Driveline is completely been refurbished. Transmission is the original M20. It's been completely rebuilt with all new linkage and shifter mechanism. On this particular car, I put a heavier sway bar on it, which is an 1.1 inch in diameter, which is a lot stiffer than the original. The original was only 7/8 of an inch. It's got all new dog bones and everything in it. The reasoning for a bigger sway bar will take the body roll out of your car, and that was my biggest thing on redoing this car, was to add to the performance of it by putting the drop spindles on it to lower the center of gravity, and put a heavier sway bars to take the body roll out on turns. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn the wheel so you can see the drop spindles system I put on, to which the drop spindles, like I say, lowers the center of gravity by 2 inches, which gives you better performance on the car. You could get disc brakes, but this car, like I said before, had drums, so I put a 4-wheel disc brake system on the car. One of the only drawbacks of having the car center of gravity lowered is, as you can see, I was going to a car show and I rubbed going up into a steep incline, to which I'll have to come back and sand that and that out and repaint. Rear control arms, which are a lot beefier than the original, which it has a adjustable upper arm for adjusting pinion angle. A heavy-duty sway bar on the back, which is 1 inch. I believe original was only 7/8. It's a 12-bolt Positrack 373 gear under the back. And everything has been completely gone through, nut and bolt. Here, what we have here is the actual 427. Probably one of the rarest things about the car is the 427. That was Chevrolet's big beast back in the day. It's a very hard to find block these days. All the wiring harness has been completely changed out to new, original. The brake booster and master cylinder is new for the 4-wheel disc brakes, which is a little bigger. The wiper motor's completely been gone through its original. All new weather stripping, wire holders, original air cleaner, all GM hoses and clamps, the original Harrison radiator in this car, the matching VIN number. Everything has been plated that needed to be plated. Replated original hood hinges and springs. Hood lock replated. The only thing that, like I said, is not original is the aftermarket brake system, which is better than what the factory had on it. I like to put the performance stuff on it that the factory wasn't capable of doing back then. And this is one part of it. Everything else is original, and I guess you might call this over-restoring a car. I like to over-restore because I figure I'm just taking care of what the factory did. But other than that, the car is completely original. Yeah, I've been interested in cars since I was about 3 years old. I've always been pretty mechanical and like to take things apart and put them back together. I guess what really fuels me on these old cars is just the pure beauty that they had, the lines and designs they had back in the day. I've always been a nut about old cars. I got that from my dad. He used to take me to salvage yards when I was 2, 3 years old, maybe up to 6, looking for parts for 36 Fords. And he used to have to drag me out of there. I'd get in every car that was in the salvage. Probably started when I was around 13 or 14 years old. I met an old guy that did body work back in the 40s, 50s, 60s. Was a real good metal man, lead man, and I worked with him for probably 8 years. And he more or less taught me the old school techniques, to
which I would never have been able to learn those techniques without his help on how to work metal, shrink metal, stretch metal, right down to laying lead. Some cars you want to redo to where they're just exactly like the factory, depending on how valuable the car is. Sometimes upgrading them makes the car more valuable. It's the thing that draws me to muscle cars is the pure horsepower you get out of them. Kind of like the old Chevelles, early 65, 6 and 7s. I always liked that body style. I rebuilt one, it was a 68 SS-396 car. So I guess my trademark would be to true all the lines. I guess you'd call that fit and finish. Fit and finish just makes the car look true. When you look at all the lines, all your door gaps and fender gaps and hood and trunk gaps should all be the exact same. Yeah, I like to finish a car that I work on with my name on it to be what I think what the factory should have been on their fit and finish on them. I like to build to drive them. A lot of people will put an enormous amount of money in it and they'll just sit in the garage. You got to be able to enjoy it, so I don't worry about getting little nicks and stuff here because I come back and fix them. I get more enjoyment out of building them than I actually do out of driving them. My favorite part of doing the cars is the actual sheet metal rust repair and the actual bodywork and painting. Generally when I restore a car, I'll pretty much do everything myself except for like transmission work. Depending on the car, if the car is not real rare, then I like to go in and do suspension upgrades. I enjoy chopping the tops and maybe adding different parts to cars, like maybe that tail fin off a Cadillac onto a 49 Chevy, or taking and extending headlights forward with 56 Chevy headlights, brows. So that's real enjoyable when you can get in there and actually put your imagination, draw a picture, and then start incorporating it. I have a 49 Chevy that I've already chopped the top on. I've had the car for years, I just can't ever seem to get it done. Every time I get something done, I'll change something to something else, so maybe in the next 10 years it might be done. The neat thing about being at a car show is the people come up to look at the car and actually come up and talk to you and ask who did the body work or who did this or that, and it's a good feeling to be able to say that you did it all.